Hello, welcome to another episode of Suddenly Single. I've got with me again today my gorgeous columnist, Vanessa Feltz, who I put on my cover and she just told me off because even she didn't know what the story was. So thank you all for buying it. It was her advice, actually, because it said all about my ex, but it wasn't. It was Vanessa, because you know she's our problem page editor, and she had given very good advice to somebody who had split up with their partner. So just to clear that up, but thank you for buying it.
I just wanna get out of here.
Before we get into the next episode of Suddenly Single, just like to ask you to click the subscribe button so you don't miss another episode. Leave us a comment, we really appreciate it, and keep watching. Now back to the show. So you're back.
I wish I was
beautiful.
suddenly single. It's not really sudden, is it?
It's
2.5
not very
years it's
single,
been.
but
2.5
you know what,
years.
V, you and I are exactly the same on that
Oh.
level. Attractive, alpha,
Ravishing.
look at that
Yes,
dress.
Yes,
I mean, you look stunning.
magnetically full of charisma.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
oozing pheromones. I mean, what more do they want?
And in your case, with 82 days without a break,
Well, that's right.
except
Working very
for
hard,
15
but
minutes in Ireland.
I would make a bit of time for love if it were to come along and
I
present
tell you
itself.
what, I don't understand why you can't find yourself a nice Irish man.
I don't suppose I'm there long enough. And also, where I go is in beautiful East Cork. My beloved East Cork is a little bit remote. So you'd have to really hang around the cliffs for an awfully long time waiting for Heathcliff to come wafting along. You know, it might be a long wait. Maybe that's why.
But we know you're not a drinker. We know we know you're not a
No,
drinker.
exactly. So I'm not really going to hang
And,
around in a pub. That's also true.
Irish men, Vanessa is open to offers. You will find her in Cork.
Yeah, it's just loitering about the place in a lingering sort of manner, trying to look alluring as I linger, probably failing at all things, I should think.
Particularly they can find you at the Christmas parade when you're looking at Santa, can't they?
Oh, we love Santy. We're very, very keen on all this. And there are so many Santys. I mean, don't tell my grandchildren that. They think there's only one real one, and he is, of course, in East Cork.
Of course,
But
of
there
course.
are quite
The
a
others
few.
are
And
just
elves.
helpers.
There are quite a few elves.
Elvis.
All over the place. They really
Elves.
are. Yes, it's really good. It's a marvellous place at Christmas time. Absolutely marvellous.
Yeah, I think this may be the way forward.
What,
I
join
think-
Santa and offer to be one of his elves?
No, I think you and I need to spend Christmas hopping around Ireland looking for available
desperate.
men.
I am. The frightening thing, though, is actually happening to me, I think. Well, I think so anyway, which is you do begin to get a bit used to it. I didn't think I would. I never thought I would, but I can't claim to be as freaked out now as I was at the beginning. Because you do get used to it. It's the human condition, isn't it? You get used to anything, really.
Have you starting to have nights at home by yourself?
I
without
wouldn't go so far
worrying
as to
it?
say that. I think that's a bit extreme. I'm not staying in, but I'm not as kind of wretched when I get home and it's an empty house. I'm getting more sort of sanguine and more sort of relaxed about it than I was, just because you become accustomed to it, don't you? Do you want to hear my latest dating experience?
I do.
Okay, I think it was last week.
That's
It might
what I've
have been
got
the
you
week
here.
before.
I love your
And
stories.
I was fixed up by just a guest on my show who was just trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And just trying to do me a favour in a very, very sweet way. Julian, have you met anyone yet? I said, no. Would you like me to look around? I said, yes, please, thinking they wouldn't, because most people, don't. And then I got this phone call. This is someone I don't know, but a friend of mine does. Would you like to go out for dinner with him? And I said, yeah. And we didn't speak first, me and this fellow. Mm-hmm. The answer was just, yes, please. And they said, well, he'll pick you up at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And I said, great. Mm-hmm. And, my goodness, this fellow arrived and he was a little on the mature side.
Oh, okay.
He was slightly vintage.
Okay.
He was a little museum piece quality, I'd say, which is absolutely not his fault, but was slightly, I felt, daunting. He seemed pretty, let's say ancient, let's say.
Okay. Older than you were expecting.
Yes. And
Okay.
then we got in his car, to go to the restaurant. It was a short journey. And I reckon we'd been in the car about 2 minutes. I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm only telling the truth, or my truth, whatever. And he started to talk about his late wife.
Oh, always a joy.
And obviously, he had really loved her tremendously. And they'd had 40 blissful years, absolutely blissful. Mm-hmm. And so obviously, he was really in the absolute throes of grief, bereavement and mourning, poor fellow. And, I felt very sorry for him. Indeed, I did. I mean, I'm really serious. I said, God, you poor thing.
How long has she been?
Well, I think she died in 2023, so that's not that long ago, is it? And so, I mean, what could I do? I just expressed my deepest condolences, which I really felt. And I said, I'm so terribly sorry. And I said, well, she must have been a really marvellous woman. And he told me at length about what kind of a marvellous woman she had been. And she was absolutely marvellous. And then we arrived at the restaurant. And we went in, and I really felt like a sort of grief/bereavement counsellor, that I was giving, bereavement help to this poor, wretched, broken-hearted man who'd lost his beloved wife. It didn't really feel like my idea of a date, I've got to say. I mean, I don't mean to be unkind. I don't want to be unkind. I don't think I was unkind. I think I was kind. I mean, I wanted to be nice, and I was nice. And I just allowed the whole thing to be really a kind of unloading of his very, very broken heart and pain and agony and suffering and poor thing and everything. Really, really a very sad thing. But I mean, I did sort of wonder, what do you think you're ready to go on a date? Because you really do seem to be somebody who's just really in the absolute early stages of adjusting to widowerhood. And I wouldn't call it fun. I wouldn't call it sexy or flirtatious. I wouldn't call it a date. It was much more, I was kind of a counsellor, and he was sort of sniffling most of the way home. And I mean, there certainly won't be a second one, but poor fellow though, poor thing.
Was the dinner any good? What did you eat?
I couldn't really eat. It put me right off my food.
Now
I ordered a fish cake, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
'Cause you like your food.
I ordered a fish cake because I just didn't want to, anything that would take long. And also I didn't really want to chew much because I was trying to just be really listening to his, his story. And I didn't want to be taking big bites of steak while I was doing that something. So I just ordered this humble fish cake. And honestly, I think I ate about one mouthful because it seemed a bit rude to just be tucking in while he was sort of sobbing and just so heartbroken. So I couldn't really enjoy with gusto the food. And so I had a fish cake. I don't know whether he managed to shovel any food in or if he was just crying too hard. And then
he literally cried.
Honestly, it was terrible.
On the day.
I'm telling you, it was really sad. And then I was thinking, do I want dessert? And I was thinking, well, I'd rather honestly have a banana at home.
Yeah.
Or a Kit Kat or something, just by myself without having to feel so absolutely wretched for this total stranger. So it was over pretty quickly, this date, if you could call it that.
Yes.
And that is my freshest and latest experience of dipping my toe in the dating scene.
Okay. I did try and get you a date, but you were busy.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you. Now, I don't know what I was doing, but yes.
Yeah, no. Well, we might have to try and set that
Possibly.
up. I don't think he's a widow, but I mean, I have been to his house once and he has been to mine and he doesn't cry.
I think there are some people who are ready to date again, and there's some people who patently are not, aren't they?
Yeah. So we might have to try that one again. Very amusing company.
Yeah.
Nice food. Does like a drink, but that's okay because I'll be there.
That's
and
fine.
I'll do the drinking.
I don't mind someone
for
else
you.
drinking. I just don't really like to do it myself.
Yes, yeah. So
what do you think of that, though? I mean, I think that's relatively typical. I think there are lots of people who kind of plod out on a date, and they're not in the frame of mind. They're really not. It may not just be bereavement. It might be divorce. It might be they've just lost their business or their job or something, and then they come out and they're just really damaged and distracted, and they're not in the mood to flirt or focus on somebody else or even listen to somebody else for 10 seconds. They're just too busy talking, and you do feel a bit. It is a bit crushing somehow. You feel a bit sort of diminished by it, really.
do you know what? It's interesting you would say that. So I've been seeing someone for a few months, and I'm not sure how well it's going at this moment in time. I don't think the death of my mother has helped my mood or some people don't deal well with grief, right?
So, and it's also very new for you.
It's fine, but we did have a funny discussion about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he said to me, you stood me up the first time I asked you out, and I couldn't actually remember having done that. I said, did I? And he said, yes, you did. He said, and I drove from Oxford to meet you. And he said, I'd been in Oxford for the weekend and I didn't want to tell you. And he said, but it didn't do my self-esteem any good. And I got home and I thought, oh, well, and then I had to try again. And I was laughing. And I said, oh, wow, it's amazing that we ever even got to a first date. And I am now really sorry. I said, but I'll be honest with you. It probably was because You're about date number 11, none of which have worked out. It was a Sunday. I didn't realise you'd driven from Oxford. I thought you were local, and he is local, but I thought you were driving 10 minutes to the pub.
Yeah.
It's not really going to matter if I text you and say, I'm really sorry, I just can't make tonight. If I'd have known you'd driven from Oxford, of course I would have gone. But it is that fatigue thing of...
You do. You can't help your heart sinking.
You're not going to look like your pictures. You're not going to...
But I'm not sure of the moment, but it definitely happens. It's happened to me every time where there's a moment where you feel disappointed because you can't help having some hope in your heart. Otherwise, there's no point going.
No,
if you're not hoping it'll work out, don't go.
Yeah.
So you have to be a bit hopeful,
Yes.
and you have to put on a different dress, and you have to, get spruced up, and you have to, there's all of that. And so you've got a bit of hope in your heart. Then there's the moment where you think, oh dear, it's not going to work out with you, I'm afraid. For whatever reason, you don't fancy them, or, just
know that
there's something
within
about
seconds,
them.
right?
Pretty much immediately you know that.
Yeah.
Then you try and give yourself a stern talking to, like give them a chance, don't judge them immediately, give them a chance, you're here after all, you might as well, try.
Yes.
So you try. Then it's obviously confirmed that it's just really not going to work out. There's no chemistry, they're not interesting, you don't like them, they smell funny, or whatever it is. But then there's that moment, and I'm not sure why it happens, where somehow it all transfers back onto you, and you start to really feel absolutely terrible, really about yourself, about the future, about, what if I never, ever meet anyone? What if it's never any better than this awful evening? Who's to say I ever will? Because I've been on, 4 dates, 40 dates, 500 dates, whatever it is, and none of them have worked.
Yes.
And none of my previous relationships have worked, or I wouldn't have to be on these stupid dates. And oh my God, it may never, never, ever work. And you start to feel this absolute weight pushing you down of just total and utter misery. Then by the time you get back to your own house, having tried to evade their grasp or their clinch or whatever it is, trying to say, it's all right, there's no need to open the door, no need to open the door. You start, heaving yourself out of the door. How I told you about that one where I said there's no need to open the door, that one.
No, just so you could get
I went on
out.
a date with this barrister, and he was an absolute, I couldn't stand the guy. I really actively disliked him. I really couldn't bear him. And when we finally got back to my house, I just didn't want him to open the door of the car for me, because I just thought he'll try and pinch me or kiss me or something, and I don't want to have to fend him off. I just don't feel like it. So I just went, I can open the door, I'll be fine, no need to move, just sit tight. And he said to me, it's a very heavy door. And I thought, no, I'm sure it'll be fine. How heavy can a door of a car be? Anyway, and then I tried to get out of this bloody car. And it was this incredibly heavy bloody door. And also it was a very low car. It was some kind of sports car or something. And I honestly practically ended up like opening the door with my head and like crawling out on my knees to get myself out the door without falling in, because I had refused his help in getting out of the car. But I couldn't go back on it. I couldn't go, okay, do open it for me, having made such a thing of I can get out on my own, there's no need, and all that kind of thing. God, by the time I got out the car, my knees were kind of grazed. I was kind of like rolling out into the road in order to get out the car without the car closing on me. I thought, God, it's going to shut right on my leg and I'm going to have to go straight to hospital. And it was just in an effort to avoid the whole clinch at the door thing, which I certainly didn't want to do. I just didn't want to. Oh, that was terrible. That was another terrible one. But then you get to your own front door and you think you'd feel, phew, I'm at home, I'm at peace, this is my house, I can do whatever I like, I can watch whatever I want on telly, I can eat and drink whatever I like, I'm fine. But you don't. Yeah, well, I don't. You just feel so disheartened and miserable and sort of diminished and kind of lesser. And it's really horrid. It seems to take it out of you each time it doesn't work out.
Yeah, you're right. And what is that about? What is this about? Is it women? Whereas, as I've just said, things aren't going very well at the moment. And I think it's me. I do. And I go home and I think, you're a horrible person. It's your fault. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have done that. And why is it my fault?
But why are you saying and doing that? Because you don't really like him as much as you wish you did, or because of what?
No, I don't. It's not that. I think people react to grief in different ways. And I've just told you I've just lost my mum on Thursday. And
we've talked about it privately before this. So
already
said how sorry
it was partly my fault. it happened on the Thursday morning. He did, to be fair, say, "Do you want me to drive you to the hospital?" I said, "No, I'm fine. I want to go there myself because it's private. I've only known him.
Yes,
a
you don't
few
know him well
months.
enough
It's
to have
my
him involved in that completely.
My family are going to be there, and I
Yes.
don't know how long it's going to take. It could be, or I could be there 2 days. I've no idea at this moment in time what I'm doing." And he had a big pitch in London at lunchtime, which he had to be at. So he would have had to leave me in a hospital where I had no car. And I then called him at 6 o'clock in the evening to say, my mum's died, blah, blah, blah. What would you, if I said that to you?
I would have come straight to the hospital.
Well, yes.
If I were him.
Or come to my house.
Or come to your house and make you straight after with something hot for dinner and something to look after you.
He's in a bar.
In a bar?
In a bar with the people that he was working with and females that I could hear. And because of my personality, I said, I just got off the phone. I didn't really say anything. I said, "Look, I'm going home to be with my daughter now," and I hung up. And then he had already had a plan, which was absolutely fine, to go and spend the weekend with his parents. I would have cancelled that if that was me. But
Someone's mother had died.
But I didn't
would have.
say a word. I just said fine. So by the time I get to his house on Saturday night, I'm not happy. Yeah. I'm really not happy. And he knew I wasn't happy because I told him I wasn't happy, because that is my personality, and I told him why I wasn't happy. And he did not take it well at all, that I had not informed him that that is what I wanted, that he didn't say he wasn't a mind reader, but that was the basics of it. And we did not have a great weekend, and we've hardly spoken since. And I get that people deal with grief differently, and maybe he doesn't, people don't know what to do with you because you're not behaving as yourself and you're not behaving normally. But exactly what you say, it makes me feel like I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have lost my temper. I shouldn't have cried about my mum. I shouldn't have... Why shouldn't I cry about my mum? My mum's dead, that and
also you haven't had practice in this.
He's cross.
It's the first time your mum's died. She's your only mother.
It's my only mother.
You're going to behave how you behave. What can you do?
It's not going to happen next weekend. It was this weekend.
He shouldn't really show that he's cross. He should show some kind of understanding.
He was very cross. Because he felt it wasn't fair. My behaviour wasn't fair. My crying wasn't fair. My drinking wasn't fair. And he made it quite clear that he wasn't happy about it. And do you know the ridiculous thing of that? Who do I think shouldn't have behaved like that? Moi.
Well, I think, if you want to know what I think,
yeah,
as your
go
agony
for it.
aunt,
Go for it. As my
Best
agony
magazine.
Aunt, go for it.
I mean, I think that he's shown a tremendous lack of empathy and compassion, because you've had no rehearsals in losing your mum. This is it.
No.
It's the first time it's ever happened to you in
Yeah,
your whole life.
yeah.
She's your only mother.
Yeah.
You are in shock.
Yeah.
You are in disbelief.
Yeah.
And you are on some kind of weird autopilot until after the funeral, where you're in this kind of strange hinterland of it's not really real life, and yet you are supposed to go back to work, and yet you're meant to sort of project as a normal person, but you're in this state of complete grief. You're an orphan. You can't believe it. It's a really big deal, and you're dealing with your own child's bereavement too, and the loss for the whole family. It's a whole, and doing the admin for the funeral and everything,
and the admin and
so
all of that
you
nonsense.
are allowed to behave in a slightly irrational, off balance, off kilter kind of way, because you are off balance and off kilter. And if you weren't, you'd be a right weirdo.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be.
Thank you.
So
Thank
he
you.
should be thinking, I offered to drive her there. She said she didn't want me to. Then she would have liked
then she
me
didn't
to
tell
come
me.
to her house. She didn't tell me. I wish she had told me. And then ... But her mother had just died that day.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
therefore I can cut her some slack. I can forgive her for not informing me. And if I'm annoyed, I'm not going to show it, because she doesn't need to deal with my anger as well as the loss of her mother on the same day. That's not fair. That's too much for anyone to have to deal with. So he needed to accommodate you.
Yeah.
He needed to say, I wish you'd told me. But I'm so sorry. If I'd known you wanted me to come, I'd have come.
I think that's probably the problem, not an awful lot of empathy.
Yeah.
And also we had a row the weekend before, but it was because, and I did say that to him, it's a private thing to me, but I had been with my sister in the morning because my mum we were going to put her potentially in a place that had nursing care till at least we knew whether she could go home or not.
Yeah.
And then she didn't want to go and see my mum again because it can be quite traumatic when you're dealing with someone who's really sick. So when I got back to his at about 4:00 in the afternoon, I said, I've had a really crap day. And it wasn't that nice that evening either.
Right.
But listen to what I've just said to you.
Yeah.
But what am I feeling now? I feel like I'm an irrationally badly behaved person. What is that about women?
I just think it's a terrible shame that you think that. And I think that, you know,
I don't really, but I think
very...
it may not last because he doesn't want to deal with it.
And it may not last.
It may not last.
It may not last. And also, he may only want you to be on absolute top form. And nobody's on top form all the time, especially when their mother's just died.
This is it.
You know, there will be hard days. There will be bad days. There will be sad days. And if he can't kind of accommodate and make allowances for that, then that's not much of a relationship, is it?
It's not.
Can't always be on this brittle kind of, hey, let me entertain you. I'm Robbie Williams form. You know, sometimes you're not entertaining. You're actually sad. You're allowed. Sometimes you're tired.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're stressed. You know, sometimes you're disgruntled, sometimes you're flawed. That's just being a human being.
And also, you know, airing it now, but he's a very quiet person, which I really like about him because I'm quite a loud person. And that can be a good balance. But actually, he doesn't like the noise. He doesn't. And that, you know, what am I going to do with my personality?
Well, you can't silence your whole personality
pack
and your
my
whole life
bags
story,
again,
can you?
And pack my bags again.
Yeah.
You know, because really that's what he gets to in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I suppose I do feel a bit shite about that as well now.
It's very, very difficult. But I mean, I would say this is an incredibly difficult time for you. It couldn't be more difficult. It's literally hours ago that your mother died. It's really not an old thing that you've had a chance to get used to. You really haven't.
No.
So if you're behaving in whatever way you're behaving, that's what you're doing. And that's it. And I would say you've got no control over it whatsoever. You find yourself acting out in various ways when you've just had the most almighty shock and it's full of grief. I mean, you're not going to just be your normal, tranquil, sweet self, are you? And
am I ever a tranquil, sweet?
Sometimes.
Sweetie?
I've known you be both those things. And I think that he needs to be able to make the mental leap to understand that. And if he can't, that isn't good. It isn't good. And you can't require that someone else be quiet. You can't. You know, you can be quiet yourself if you want to, but you can't make someone else do that. And you can't make their whole life story be quiet just to shut up so it doesn't inconvenience you, can you?
Well, no. Thank you for that counselling.
Because
I think
I'm quite a good agony aunt.
You're a very good agony aunt.
I'm not that way. I've had so much. I've made so many terrible decisions in my own life, you see. I can see what not to do.
It's funny how much we can see other people's lives, but not our own.
Exactly.
Isn't that true?
Yes, it is.
Right? It really is. So, but on a good note, what have you just won?
I've just won an award. A great big award. It's my new show, The Vanessa Show on Channel 5, and we won Best Talk Show at the NTRAs.
I know.
No, it's not. It's the National Reality TV Show.
Oh, okay.
And it was really, really great. We got there and there was our table right in the middle at the front. And I thought, don't read anything into it. You know, because I remember winning a few things in my time where you've had to walk all the way in from the back. So I thought, it's just, you know, don't think. And then we were up against all the biggies, you know, Graham Norton, Jonathan Ross, Good Morning Britain, this one, that one. The list went on and on. I thought, oh, God, don't stand a hope in hell. And the show's only been going since the last week of March. And we won it. And it's a public vote.
And they've extended the show.
They've extended the show, yes. So it was really, 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 I mean, I was so pleased. I was absolutely thrilled to bits. And I must say, it is wonderful at any age and any stage to be totally thrilled. You know, so excited you're literally jumping up and down like a 2-year-old. And you're not doing it because anyone was watching you. You're doing it because you're really, really thrilled. Yes. And I was thoroughly thrilled. I still am. It's less than a week ago, so I'm still riding it out, the joy, and, you know, sitting there on cloud 9 having a great time.
I've seen the pictures of it, but is it on a mantelpiece?
It is bang slap in the middle of the living room. I'm thinking taking it and putting it in the bedroom right next to the bed. I don't quite know where. You know, I keep moving it around. But yes, and it's a very substantial trophy. It's very heavy. I think it's made of plaster or something. It's very stone or something. It's very, very heavy. It's not metal. It's kind of plasterish. Yes.
And you're still doing LBC?
And I'm still doing LBC, so I'm working 7 days a week, 5 tellies and 2 radios, plus the newspaper column, plus the best column.
But can I just say, you look stunning.
Me? I've just been in television makeup, that's why, for hours.
I know, but the beautiful dress,
thank you.
The size of you, you're tiny as a pencil.
I haven't got time to eat anything, and obviously, as everybody knows, well-publicised gastric bypass in 2019. I love when people ask me, what is the secret? And I just keep putting well-publicised gastric bypass, which I haven't hidden from anyone. Everyone knows it. So so that people don't think there is a secret. And it is true, yes, had I waited for Wegovy or Manjaro, I wish I had waited because I had to pay for the operation. It cost me a fortune. And I bet I would have absolutely loved them, and I'm sure they would have worked for me as well as they're working for everyone else. So I wish I was on it, but I'm not eligible because I've had a gastric bypass, unfortunately. So that's it.
Well, you could have it taken out and you could go on it.
You can't have it taken out. It's not, you can't remove a bypass. That's an actual operation.
Okay.
Where they chop bits of you
Shows
out.
you what I know.
Yeah, no, that's a band.
Yeah.
I haven't got a band anymore.
Okay, so we're going to work on getting you a new boyfriend.
Oh, God.
But before you leave me again,
Yes.
here we go with the suddenly single honesty box.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm coming up, I'm coming up.
Top tip
Oh.
for other people looking for love.
Yes. What's your top tip?
Well, it's quite difficult to do, but I would say you just have to try and remain optimistic. And
Very hard.
It's hard. It's very, very hard, but it's the only thing to do, isn't it? You've got to, I mean, look, acknowledge that you would like to find it. That's the first thing.
Yes.
Because some people wouldn't.
Yes.
Like Linda Robson. She always says, I just don't care. I just want to be on my own. I can't be bothered with it. I'm not interested in it.
People like that, though.
Yeah,
I think Linda
yeah.
probably does want to be on her own.
Yeah,
Do you?
yeah, I think she does. I think she means it.
Yeah.
But if you don't mean it and you don't want to be on your own, I think you have to acknowledge that you really would like to find it, and it could be round any corner. It could be just that morning, like Miranda Hart when that guy came to mend the rats, or what was it, drains, or what was wrong with her? Woodworm?
know.
She had some woodworm or damp. She had a damp house. The guy came to look at the damp, and then she married him.
Oh.
So that was the happy ever after. She'd never been married before, and it was a really marvellous story. So that can happen to anyone at any moment,
Okay.
but it might not. And so it might take longer, but remain optimistic because it will happen at some time. So just rely on it happening in one day and keep smiling and keep on looking.
Yay. Keep smiling, keep on looking, people.
Bit difficult to do, though. I'm not saying it's easy. I didn't say it was easy, did I?
I've had easy
And I have
weeks.
certainly felt disheartened myself and
Yes,
felt like, oh
yes.
God, will it ever? And
But
you
can I
know,
just say, I would suggest that we are both looking better than we have ever done.
we look ravishing. I
We
agree with
do.
that.
I
agree with
mean,
that.
yeah.
And do
really.
these guys look any great shakes?
No.
Some of them look positively dreadful.
Although the current one does look pretty good.
Oh, is he good looking?
He's extremely good looking, which is really not my type, as
That
we know.
really helps, though.
Yes. Yes.
Easy on the eye is good.
Very easy on the eye. How do you feel when your ex remarries?
I don't think, in a sort of ideal world, you should feel anything. What's it got to do with you? I mean, you know, I never have got it. I didn't get it when I got divorced from my husband, and I don't get it now when people say, oh, you know, I do something good, for example, win the award I won last week.
Yeah.
And people who don't know me and don't know anything about me whatsoever say, well, that's one in the eye for your ex. As if you're living your life in order to do things to make an impression of some kind on your ex.
Yeah.
I am not. I don't care. I'm not. You know, an ex is an ex.
Yeah.
And as far as my divorce is concerned, it was 1999. So how long ago was that? 26 years ago. So am I still doing things to try and make an impression on an ex-husband I haven't seen for 26 years? Answer, definitely not. No. My life is my life. I'm living it for me, for my kids, for my grandkids. You know, I'm getting through each adventure that happens. I'm not doing it in order to show somebody else that I don't even see anymore and have nothing to do with a lesson. No, that's not what it's about.
No.
So no, I don't keep thinking, oh, you know, that show. And my most recent ex is 2 years and 7 months ago. So quite a long time, coming up for 3 years. Haven't seen the person. I'm not interested in making an impact on that person's life because they're no longer in my life. So I'm not really, and I'm not thinking, what could that person be thinking? So likewise, I am not spending my life reacting or responding to whatever they're doing. Let them get on with it. I'm the person who ended the relationship. I didn't want to continue it. And what that person goes on to do is of no interest to me whatsoever. It has no impact on my life. And that's how I feel. I really mean it. Neutral. Absolutely neutral. Just as you feel about a stranger. You know, a stranger's going on a lovely holiday. What do I care? I hope they have a good time. I don't care. A stranger's buying a new car. Hope they have a nice ride in the car. I don't know them. It's got nothing to do with me. Yeah. A stranger gets married. Let them get married. What's it got to do with me? I mean, it's not a part of me if they're not in my life anymore, is it? So I think what I really think is nothing. And why do I think nothing? Because I really do not want to silt up and sully my life by thinking of someone I no longer want to spend my life with and I got rid of. I got rid of them with excellent reason, and I got rid of them to get rid of them. I didn't get rid of them to keep thinking about them and keeping tabs on what they're doing. Far from it. I'm the absolute opposite of a, what do they call it, like a social media stalker. That is not me. I'm not that. It's like, right, I tried it. I really gave it my whole heart. I gave it my whole soul. I put my whole self into it for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And then I had no alternative but to end it. I had to end it because the person turned out to be an absolute, untrustworthy individual. So I ended it. End of.
Yeah.
And I really mean it.
Yeah.
End of. I'm not just like keeping tabs and seeing what's going on. Not at all. I'm not.
Very wise words from our.
And they are
Agony
true.
out.
Do you believe me or not?
No, I know
You do believe me.
I
It's
believe
true.
you 100%. I react slightly differently in the respect of both times, actually. My first husband, even though it was my decision to divorce, when he married his second wife, I moved house because I got cross with myself that I had not moved on with my life. Why was I still in the house that I lived in with him? Time to move, time to change.
Yeah.
Did that. I think that was a really positive thing. With my most recent one, who I think he's probably already married, and if not, is getting married very soon, it galvanised me when I found out in January to actually go back on apps and look for someone else. Not because I was jealous, but I just thought you're giving your life to work.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't want to give my life to work. You're doing that a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, but you don't always have a choice.
You don't always have a choice because there's the financial aspect of it as well. But I thought you can make time to do this, Siobhan. You've spent 2 years going, I haven't got time to go on a date, to, have my hair done, what have you. But I did. And whether it works or not, I have met somebody who has been delightful for a while.
Yeah.
Whether it lasts or not, I don't know. But so I've found it a galvanizing thing in a positive way.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I just prefer to not to register anything in a non-existent relationship with somebody I never want to see again. Why would I why would I use it to propel myself to do X or Y or not do something or do something? Anything I'm deciding to do is because of me and my life, my friends, my kids, my grandkids, my ambitions, my adventures, my situation.
Yeah.
But absolutely nothing to do with somebody I haven't seen for nearly 3 years. And why should it be?
Yeah. Well, Vanessa Feltz, Agony Aunt of Best, thank you for all of your amazing advice as usual. And for coming back in to Suddenly Single.
It's such a pleasure.
Yeah. And see you soon,
See you
hopefully.
soon, sweetheart.
Yes.